Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newark Youth Career Pathways Power of Pathways podcast. My name is Kalina Berryman.
My name is Kimberly Brown.
And I am Linda Lloyd.
And I am Haidia Austin.
And we make up the leadership team of Newark Youth Career Pathways and the host of this podcast. Today's episode is all about the power of summer youth employment. Newark Youth Career Pathways just wrapped up its first summer experience. Insert round of applause. And a couple of years ago, we did not even imagine being able to do summer because summer is hard and requires a lot of moving pieces, but we did it. And so if I could sum up this summer in one word, it would be win, because I believe we had a big win for young people, a big win for employers, and a big win for the future of this city because we are preparing young people to run it. So my word would be win. Kimberly, what would be your one word to wrap up this summer?
My word would be quick.
Okay.
I feel like the process, is kind of long and drawn out. And then when it comes to summer, it just went by so quick.
The weeks
went by so fast.
Yeah, but you ran an amazing summer experience. So insert round of applause for Kimberly Brown. And we'll tell you more about that summer program very shortly. Linda, what would be your word?
My one word would be transformative.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying transformative, because both the employers and students experienced something new, and they had positive things to say about it. And from the employer perspective, some of them were a little apprehensive because they did it before, but it didn't go as well as they wanted it to go.
Right.
And so they had an opportunity to experience it in many different places with NYCP, and they were like, I love it on all levels. And so for the students, the way in which we go above and beyond to make sure that they are serviced and we are making sure that they experience justice in their work sites and the experience, it was transformative for them. They really appreciated it.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Transformative is so important because there are so many experiences that we have coming up that young people have with adults that might, make them think that, it's too hard to do certain things or to work certain places. And sometimes adults have experiences where they're like, it's too hard to work with, summer youth. It's just something that I don't have the capacity to do. And I think you're right. I think we transform the mindsets of our ecosystem, our small ecosystem. Absolutely. That this is something that we can do and that really doesn't just benefit the young people, but it also benefits the adults as well. So transformative. Haidia, what's your word?
If I had one word to describe the summer, I think it would be intentional.
Okay.
Just our experience this summer within NYCP and continue our work with some of our fellows who were part of the Student Advisory Board and having them continue to kind of, we'll say, stand on business, get a lot of initiatives and projects that we had in the works during the school year and really take our time to plan out, working on enhancing our skills, myself, as well as the SYEP students who worked with us over the summer. Yeah. So I think our grandest word would be intentional, and we just took time to really plan things out. And, we all worked together collectively as a team and really seeing the students' vision and having them, work together collectively. It was a very, productive summer.
Yeah, I think intentional was great. And we at Newark Youth Career Pathways were very intentional about having a summer experience. It was not a part of our program design. For those who are new to Newark Youth Career Pathways, we provide young people access to out-of-school time programs that are in the city, killing it, winning wins for young people for decades, many of them, and we bring them into the school day. So we are in 6 schools, 23 classrooms. We are so grateful to University High School, Eagle Academy, Westside High School, Donald Payne Tech, West Caldwell Tech, and Newark Tech for not just welcoming us, but welcoming us with open and warm arms. And it's been about 5 years of us working collaboratively to offer Newark Youth Career Pathways to 350 young people. And so it's a lot of youth development classes that are done in collaboration with career technical education programming. So young people study finance, or financial planning. They study career readiness. There's power skill development. They get post-secondary education counseling. And our partners are Leaders of the 21st Century, Avid Leadership Institute, Good Education Group, Early Learning Financial Literacy Program, Rutgers University Newark's Center for Pre-College Programs. So thank you to all of them, all of our principals, school leaders, partners that make that happen. And so then this year we were like, well, you know what? We need to give young people an opportunity to put those skills into action through summer youth employment. And so through 2 partnerships, one with the Summer Youth Employment Program, which Linda worked very closely with to identify amazing employer partners who came on as a part of our Road to 50 campaign. She'll tell you more about them later, to match our students to those programs. And then 1 year ago, we were awarded we applied for a Perkins Innovation and Modernization Grant in partnership with Essex County Technical Schools, one of 19 cities who received the grant out of 100 and some odd applications.
Wonderful.
And so we launched this PIM program, which is what Kimberly led. And so we're going to talk to the people and the students who were a part of that program today.
Okay, so Kalina, before we get into that, can you please share a little bit about your own summer youth experiences and work that you did?
Summer youth employment. So I never worked for Speedy, which is what Summer Youth Employment Program is formally known as. If I had NYCP, I may have. But in the summer, my first summer job that I can remember was at Town & Country Pharmacy in Maplewood. And I worked there for about a year, but I started in the summer. It was down the street from my house in the West Ward of Newark. And I was fired, but unfairly, unjustly. They did not have NYCP to coordinate our employment there. And I believe that there were some unfair practices. But myself and many of my peers were let go over time. But that was my first experience. And it was okay, except for the one part that I did not enjoy was at the time, the newspapers. If we got like 500 newspapers and we only sold 100, you had to cut the top. And I would have to sit there for hours and cut the top of hundreds of newspapers. So, yeah, that was my summer experience.
Sound like you're a little still traumatized.
It is. It was very traumatizing. Yes, it was. And Kimberly, what was your first summer work experience?
So my first summer work experience was Speedy. I think I was about probably 10 years old. My aunts worked for Speedy, but 10. I do remember.
Right, that's why I look like what in the child labor laws? Okay.
I do remember that was when back in the day, Speedy provided summer meals for youth. Yeah. So it was like the summer lunches. Yeah. So my aunts
donuts used to be right.
They had to go around and count all the kids in the summer lunches that were served and like do a little check on this little metal flip chart. So I remember that back in the day.
Wow.
But my official first summer job, I was blessed because my mother worked on the Rutgers University campus since I was in, like middle school. So I would do summer programs there and then probably spend most of the day in the office. So I think what happened probably one day, Deborah Walker McCall saw.
Okay.
And she offered me a summer position. So I was probably like 14 working.
Wow.
And at that time she was in the EOF nursing. And so I worked there. So it became full circle because later on when I was offered a full-time position, it was again under her leadership when she came over to EOF.
Yeah. I was just saying the stories, like I never knew that you started at 14, didn't know that part. So the stories are so important. And in our stories, we lift up some folks who've been working on behalf of young people for a long time. So thank you, Deborah Walker McCall. She was my boss at one point and really care for her. Linda, what was your first summer job?
My first summer job. Wow. So I too have never worked for Speedy. It was Speedy when I was in high school. I was always involved in some sort of like pre-college summer program, something of that nature, like Bridge or something like that. I did also, my last year of high school, I worked 2 summer jobs.
Okay.
You gotta know how to do it. One job is from 9 to 1, the other one is from 2 to 6. So that was, I had an opportunity to get my bread up before I went to college.
Okay.
That's the summer I worked for a former councilwoman, Mamie Bridgeforth. That was really great. So I had friends who definitely worked for Speedy in summer, but I had great I had great opportunities. Not necessarily, I didn't have an NYCP, but I'm a child of the community. I'm a daughter of Newark, and I had so many programs to prep me. That's why I feel so passionately about NYCP, because I know the power of community, wrapping around young people and supporting them, not just while they're in a program, but throughout their experience. So my summer jobs were pretty lit as a young person, and I got a chance to meet a lot of people and learn a lot of things.
Yeah. Hadia, what about you?
So nice. So I actually went through the speedy process.
Oh, was it speedy when you were?
Yes, it was speedy.
When did it not become speedy? That's what I need to know. Maybe Tyreek knows that. At what point?
So I'm fairly young. I'm in my 30s now. So I think when I went through the summer youth employment process, it was still one step at the time. And my first summer work experience was through Future Business Leaders. It was a partnership with Louise A. Spencer Elementary School, and I was 14 at the time, eighth grade summer. So I actually was working at the school I was attending at the time. So my process with, I think, let's begin with getting working papers. I remember the whole process. So it was very we're gonna talk about trauma. Yes, traumatizing, chaotic. I remember going to the one-stop office and having to wait in line and the multiple steps. So kind of wish I had an NYCP back in the day.
It's a lot of steps.
Yes, it was just a lot of steps. So I think obviously for a young, person, a young teenager, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
But my overall experience at that site was very rewarding. It allowed me to, always had that helping spirit, working with others. I had an awesome, supervisor who really guided me at that point in time. But I think I learned a lot about processes now, and then just being a program manager now for organization, you learn kind of like those steps. And I know now for one step, they've made getting working papers easier now. Now you can do it online. So I think when I first did Speedy, I think a couple years later, they have access online, because it was paper back then. It was you had to actually get it signed, and it was multiple steps. So yes.
And Kalina, if I may, really quickly, I just want to lift up two organizations, PCCI, Center for Children, and I also want to lift up Quest Youth Services, Joyce Smith Carter, which a lot of leadership in the city of Newark today went through Quest. Matter of fact, the brother sitting here on who is our engineer.
Quest too?
Yes. So Quest is one of the first, is the first organization to like do Kwanzaa in Newark, like so many transformative things to service families in Newark and the greater Newark area. So Joyce Smith Carter, Marie Carter, Joyce Marie Smith Carter, and Cliff Carter. Definitely want to lift up their names every time I get an opportunity, because Mrs. Carter was a fierce leader in the city and definitely loved children, and we all have benefited from her youth development. So I would be remiss if I didn't lift that up.
Yeah, and I think that is when we talk about community wrapping their arms around, that really is the difference. That's what this work is all about. It has fancy names like Perkins Innovation and Modernization and Career Connected High Schools and Pathways Pro. All of those names are great, but what they really all stand for is community wrapping itself around young people and being committed to their journey over the long run. And so we're going to learn more about the summer with our first guest that we will bring on, Tyreek Rolon, who is the Director of NewarkWorks and Summer Youth Employment Program. So today's podcast, as we said, is all about the power of summer youth employment. And we have the power behind summer youth employment programming in Newark here with us today. Insert round of applause for Tyreek Rolon, Director of NewarkWorks and Summer Youth Employment Program. Thanks for being with us today.
Of course.
Congratulations on the official completion of the first Summer Youth Employment Program is it under your leadership? Is this the first one? The second. Okay. So
the
it's done. The official. Yeah. How does it feel to be done?
Like amazing though, right? Like getting through the process with the team, you know, earlier, like we were talking about, that it's extremely tedious, right? The vet and the scrubbing, you know, being responsible for, you know, thousands of kids, ensuring that they get paid. The bitter part about it is that, you know, like, what is the plan now when they go to school? And how do we keep, you know, opportunities in their view, as well as, you know, an opportunity to earn some income.
And we came to Tyreek in the Summer Youth Employment Program, Mr. Rahman Muhammad and the whole team, and we were like, look, we have 350 young people. Many of them are Newark youth. Can we please have some support in getting them enrolled in Summer Youth Employment Program? Because a lot of them hadn't done it. You all said yes. And so by the end of that, we had 75 who made the cut, who got the paperwork done. And I know paperwork is hard, but to me, paperwork is important. One, because working requires paperwork and process. And two, I think it requires a certain amount of dedication to tell a partner we're going to bring a young person to you. So they should have to do those steps to you know, solidify that they're truly interested. So we got 75 through, and we'll talk more about that. But Tyreek, why is it important for young people to even have summer youth employment?
Well, for me, so, you know, a research says that, right, that you know, that youth who have jobs, you know, are more likely to sustain careers and be, you know, more successful in their life. But I think especially in Newark, and with the leadership that we have under Mayor Baraka, right, you know, all the programs, you know, that folks like yourself are running, to have people in your lives during the summer who look like you, right, who can actually show you, you know, that some of the things that you are going through aren't crazy, right? That we can teach you and help you lead and pay you for that, right? Like when I was growing up, I didn't have, me and Jennifer always talk about, you know, that we didn't have people to teach us and pay us to be taught, to prepare us, right, for next step. And we're actually sending young folks to college, right? They're getting internships, they're becoming permanent, right? You know, all throughout the city, even through programs like y'all. So
Absolutely. You know, and that it's an investment. It's an investment in young people that we have to make. And so our participation in this, although I've run summer youth for over 20 years, Kimberly has, you know, how many years, Kimberly, have you been running summer youth?
Like 16.
16 years. So we have a lot of time running summer youth. But for Newark Youth Career Pathways, it was our first summer. And so it came out of the Road to 50 campaign. So Linda, can you talk about how we got to Tyreek and this summer experience?
Sure. So Kalina is a visionary.
Thank you. I try.
And she knows that I love challenges. And so she's like, okay, we have to get employer partners and we need to do it and figure it out. So I'm like, okay, let's do a Road to 50. Let's get 50 partners, whether they're individual career professionals, a nonprofit organization, government entity, corporation, across the spectrum. And we put out the call, and really so many people across the city and the greater Newark area, like, they answered the call. And so we had them show up for us in career panels. We had them show up for us, and by allowing us to bring young people to their jobs, we've gone to engineering firms, like all sorts of spaces, so kids could see the day in the life of what it means. Because I read something online, or I read something in this paper, and it's like, okay, I think I want to be an engineer. But let me go to the site. Let me see what it looks like. If you don't want to sit in a sea of cubicles, maybe this particular job is not for you. If you want to be interacting with people every day, maybe this job is for you. So it gives young people a practical experience for what they think they want to do. And so the third leg of that work-based learning experience was actually having a job. And so some of our employer partners were like, we never did this before, so we're not sure. But there were some career pathway partners that were like, you know what? Let's do it. And so major shout out to Port Authority, major shout out to RWJ, Barnabas Health, Newark Beth Israel Medical Center, right? Major shout out to Adina Bio and companies, because we didn't just do restaurants, we also did residential buildings. So it was lit.
Awesome.
And so, and also
and
major
a senior building.
And so major shout out to the city of Newark also for being a huge partner. So we have other partners. We actually ended this school year with over 100 career pathway partners, whether it was individual career partners or, you know, corporations. And so we are very, very thankful for those organizations and individuals that signed up and said, I want to be a career pathway partner. I want to make sure that young people are getting real live career experience, or getting a chance to just talk to and speak with and be coached by somebody who was actually in the field. I think that's really important. So I'm excited about it. We're ramping up, revising for this coming school year, and we're going to do many more career exploration trips, and we'll have more job opportunities next year for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and we'll talk a bit about the process. I'm going to ask Tyreek and Kimberly about the process. But I want to also say that it's full circle, because when we identified partners to be employer sites, they became summer youth employment sites.
That's true.
So they are now a part of that network.
Yeah.
And so we are helping each other. And I know that one of the things that the city always asks for is more employers to sign up to do this work. And what we've seen already is, I know Adina Bayou, she was talking to someone at, I think, MCJ Foundation, and she said, this was a wonderful experience. That was her first time. And so she'll tell others, and the Port Authority will tell others, and we'll continue to build trust in the process of summer youth employment, because I think, one, our young people are amazing, but we also sent young people who had, and Tyreek, to your point, 1 to 2 years of NYCP programming during the school year.
Which is huge.
Right. So some of the skills and the things that they learn, they're able to put into action. But there is a question about what happens after and during the year. And I think that's what NYCP is trying to figure out as we scale and grow our program. But I do want to ask about the challenges of summer youth employment. And so, Tyreek, what are the challenges of summer youth employment? You employed 2,500 young people. Insert round of applause for that.
But Kalina, before Tyreek answers that question, I don't want you to gloss over something that's really important.
Okay.
Historically, people try to say that there are challenges with different entities partnering, right? And I think, Tyreek, you'll appreciate this. And the beautiful thing about you and your leadership with NYCP is that we were seamlessly able to connect. It wasn't like, oh, these are our partners. We had these meetings. Not wanting to share.
Right.
I think what's important about the way that you lead, and you as well, Tyreek, I see this with you navigating in the city. Children are at the core.
Right.
Or what is the best for our city is at the core. It's never an individual. So, I hope to catch the reflection of y'all great leadership on the other side of the table. But I think it's important to lift that up, because there's a weird narrative about folks not getting along or we can't partner. And it's like, no, we're all children of Newark, and we keep children of Newark and what's best for the city at the center. So I wanted to lift that up as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this generation of leadership is trying to get that part right. And I think it helps because we grew up together. We grew up together, and we authentically like each other and authentically like working together and believe in each other.
Absolutely.
So it makes it easier. But there are challenges even to that, and we navigate them. So Tyreek, what are the challenges of this?
Well, for me, the most challenging part is that you can't hire everyone.
Wow.
Right. So being on the end as a director, getting all the phone calls and the stories and understanding like what our young folks are dealing with, right? With having to support themselves and assist in their households. That's the most challenging, part. But we plan to do something about that, have a conference with, our partners this fall, bring everyone to the table, have breakout sessions and begin to talk about what does it look like if we can all do it together. So I do plan to do that. The second thing is we're dealing with youth.
Yeah.
Right. So there is a process that we have to follow, because there are policies in place that you got to have a birth certificate, social security card, right? We have to meet deadlines. But if youth who are applying don't submit all their documents, that there's a business aspect of it too. If you're not responding to your emails, right? Your email is attached to your iCloud. Your phone is off. We skip past you. You come back 2 weeks later with it, right?
Yeah.
Those things with the parents, trying to help them get understanding. I got accepted, but I wasn't enrolled. I don't want to go to this work site. I can't be, all of those challenges, right? Is ultimately, they're good because in our city, we're going to put our young folks in the best position, right? So we always going to figure it out, whether that means we got to give you bus tickets, we got to pick up Colleen and say, I got a young man or a young lady who don't feel comfortable in this site, right? Can they come with you? So the challenges we're always working through, but I think that we can get it.
Yeah, and you all navigate those challenges so beautifully, and we're thankful for Kiana, Cody, Aisha.
Yeah.
I know there are many names,
Yeah.
but those are the ones that we worked with. Fatima,
Nadir.
Nadir, thankful for them because they navigate every Sometimes I would send emails asking for things and kind of be scared because you're like, oh, I know they're so busy. But the kindness and openness and concern that they give, we navigated our small issues so well together. So we're grateful for that. You have an amazing team, and I hope that they feel the community's love for their work because sometimes you might not, know how much you matter when you're in office and doing that kind of stuff.
I would say one more challenge is, especially for my team, right? It is, having the mayor of who he is. Yeah. Having deputy mayor of who he is, right? Having Director Gaylord and then myself. So the demands are always high.
Oh,
right? So, we ain't trying to hear that, one person didn't get paid. We're not trying to hear, right, that, one person didn't get accepted. So, big shout out to them for, always fighting through the challenge. Because, it is rough, right? It's going to come down. When the mayor says something, Rockman says something, and the demand is always to raise the bar.
And to raise the bar for the people of this city, for our young people, for our residents. We have to do this. And I know the goal is 10,000. I'm going to ask you a little bit about how we get to that 10. What do all of the pieces of the ecosystem need to do to get to that 10? But first, Kimberly, what are, in your expertise, some of the challenges of summer youth employment?
I think timeline is probably the biggest challenge. Knowing that a lot of our students and their parents, number one, they have trust issues. So you're sending a child home saying, I need the most important documents of their life. So a parent is like, what, why, when, and then sometimes it's how, if they don't actually have access to those documents, so troubleshooting a lot of that. So I think with our program, what we recognize is that challenge. So part of our orientation this year will be to start those conversations in September and October with our students so that they understand the process, they understand the documents, so that we can just start helping them gather those things early so students are understanding opportunities and already prepared for them. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And then just the process again. So shout out to also Dr. Good and Good Education Group. They really started our application process with our students, going over the applications, doing an orientation, going over the documents that they needed to submit. So shout out to that group for working with us, and definitely Kiana for really working with us early on and really checking the students' documents. I think that relationship was super important just for us to be able to troubleshoot early on. So shout out to that, to you guys too. All right, so thank you, Tyreek, for coming. If you have any last words, especially commitments to any partners in Newark that you would like to see to join your process.
I'm sorry, pause us. Oh. We can do that, right? Because it's going to be edited, right? Okay, so I wanted you to ask the last question because I mixed our questions up. As we seek to grow SYEP in Newark, what is your vision and what does the office need most?
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
so Tyreek, as we seek to grow SYEP in Newark, what is your vision and what do you think that your office needs most?
I think that, it's hard, but it's simple, right? It's just a matter of bringing everyone together, right? As the director on the macro level, I am meeting, many of the heads of programs, so in this first year, on an individual level, I'm like, wow, what does it look like when we all meet and come together, right? There are so many, folks working on grants and have funding, but we are, in my opinion, we are unintentionally working in silos, right? So this is what this conference in the fall will be all about, right? Bringing the mayor, bringing deputy mayor, and then bringing everyone together. And, with the amount of money that we have and the kits that we have and what MPS is doing, with a big shout out to Kevin Callahan, right? Who's philanthropy, right? Who's making it happen with all our private partners. I think that we can do it, but together, right? If we don't do it together, then we're gonna continue to do the same thing, right? But that's the most important piece of me. And from the folks that I've met and been around in this past year, and I think that what my team is capable of, and the administration, and our council, right, who is all about moving our youth forward, I think that we'll be good.
Yeah. And Tyreek, what do you want employers to know? Because you want 10,000, and I know we're going to get there. What do you want employers to know? How are we going to get to that 10,000?
So I think for me that if we come together and use so we can use our WIOA dollars, right? There are some things that we can do, right? We have OJT dollars, right? So that is on the job training. We are willing and committed to partnering with entities and businesses and programs saying, hey, that for 6 months, right, I can pay this youth for young adult, right? What does the next 6 months look like, right? We're talking about employing our young folks with sustainability. There are a few other things I think that we need to do, but we have to figure that out on the back end, just as far as, meeting deadlines for like grants and all of those other things. But, I think we'll be good.
Yeah. All right. The road to 10,000. Thank you, Tyreek.
We're going to get
love
it.
it.
I promise you.
All right, thank you, Tyreek, again for coming.
Thank you.
Anything you need from us, let us know.
All right.
Same thing.
So another program just as dear to our hearts that also happened this year was in partnership with the Essex County Schools of Technology and Newark Youth Career Pathways, and we launched our PIM program. PIM stands for Perkins Innovation and Modernization, made possible by a federal grant that Essex County... Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. I should just keep saying Essex County's, whatever I was saying before. Okay. This program, the Perkins Innovation and Modernization Grant, was made possible by a grant that was awarded to Essex County Schools of Technology in partnership with Newark Youth Career Pathways. We want to thank Christine Vogel, who was the development director for NYCP at the time, who we came to her about 3 weeks before this grant was due, and we said, this is perfect. The grant was designed to partner community organizations that offer technical assistance, technical education, that offer education through community college or university college credits, and that also provide career development to young people to bring them into schools. That's why it's called the Career and Community Connected High Schools program. And so out of over 100 applicants, 19 were awarded. We were one of them. So really thank you to Christine, but also to the dynamic group of women who came together to design what this program would look like. So it was designed as an expansion of Newark Youth Career Pathways in schools. We were already in Essex County Technical School serving about 165 young people through an amazing partnership led by Dr. Kathleen Delapaz and John Dolan. Miss Maccabee is a part of that as well, and all of the dynamic CTE teachers. Just truly has been a great collaboration. And so they were the first thought to come to about this opportunity. And Dr. Delapaz and her leadership got it done. So thank you to Dean Rogers at Rutgers, Dr. Good at Good Education Group, and our team. We really came together, Mr. Dolan with the budget and all the official documents. But long story short, we came to this program. And so to see the summer happen was emotional for me because it really shows the power of dreaming big. And so today we are joined by Brandon Ash, rising sophomore, Donald Payne Tech, majoring in construction trades, who was one of our PIMers this summer, and the leader who is moving this program forward in Essex County Schools of Technology, District Supervisor of Career, College, and Community Connections, Ms. Jennifer Ramos. Thank you both for joining us. We're so excited to talk about the PIM project. Now, Jennifer, you were tasked, like we were with a few weeks to write this grant, you were tasked with a couple of weeks to recruit and enroll young people that would become our first cohort. So first, tell us a little bit about your background, and then tell us a little bit about what is a PIM student? What are the qualities that they exhibit to be considered PIMers this year with us? So first, more about your background as an educator.
Okay, so thank you for having me here, and I'm excited for the program. So fresh out of college, I started working at Essex County Schools of Technology.
Really?
Yes, I was a history teacher at Newark Tech for a little over 18 years.
Okay.
So I just finished my time in the classroom there this June to come on board for the PIM program.
Wow.
For the past 10 years, I have taught in their early college dual enrollment program.
Got it.
So we partner with Essex County College for the past decade, and we've had over 300 students graduate with college credits.
Awesome.
Over 100 of those students have graduated with an associate's degree in liberal arts. Wow. And then I also spent the past 2 years as the head department chair of the social studies department for the district.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of my background, and that's kind of why I think I was brought on to this role, having developed another program with a team and bringing my experiences to PIM.
Yeah, and so you brought all of that, and in 2 weeks, we're like, look, we need 50 young people, and they have to be this, right? So what is a PIM student?
So when I began that recruitment process, I just started thinking about what kind of student would be right for this. And definitely students who are motivated, they have that internal drive, they're goal-oriented, team players, they know how to collaborate because this is a district-wide program that's going to have students from across all 3 schools.
That's right.
Risk takers, not afraid to take a risk on a program that doesn't exist here in our state or on this side of, the country. And, display leadership qualities. Ready to take a role and lead in the CTE academies that they're in the program.
Okay. So, Brandon, you heard all of those. Good morning. You heard all of those qualities. And of all the qualities that Ms. Ramos named, which quality is the best description of you?
Ooh, I would say determination and discipline. Because I did sacrifice most of my summer to come to this program. But it was worth it, though. I definitely learned a lot. I found myself. Ambition. The desire to succeed. All right. I know all of us in the PIM program, we want to be successful, which is why we chose to come to this PIM program. I also want to say resilience. A lot of us, we go through things, we go through struggles, but the ability to overcome them definitely separates us from normal people.
Look, that's exactly, we're overcomers. And there is a difference, and I think young people need to be secure in that, right? For you to be successful and excellent, you do have to be different. You have to be an overcomer. You have to be resilient. And what I'll tell you stood out for me about Brandon, which is why I'm so happy you're the student that is here with us, is because I didn't meet the young people to the end. So the day I come, and I was on a panel, and Brandon was locked in on that panel and soaking it in. And he asked, I don't remember the question today, but he asked a question and I was like, wow, his question was so brilliant. And, you just stood out among the crowd. And so all of the things that you said about yourself are accurate. And I'm so glad that you're a part of this program.
Thank you.
Yeah, you stand out, Brandon. And I want you to just own that and just honor that about yourself.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. So, Brandon, what made you choose your CTE, construction trades, and what do you plan to do with it in the future?
Okay. Well, before I came to high school, the reason I chose the construction trades is because while going to high school, my family was in the process of moving. And a lot of the things we needed to do to sell the house was fix the house. And I saw them struggling a lot with, I guess, getting people and contractors to fix the house. And I thought going into the construction trade that it would eliminate a lot of the stress and problems that I would have as a future homeowner. Now, in high school, I did find that there's a lot of fields I could go into that I don't have to work with my hands and destroy my body in the construction field. Very big money makers such as contracting, and especially if I get a higher degree in my trade, I don't have to be the person sacrificing my body and working with my hands in that field.
That's right. I love that entrepreneurial spirit. And I love the beauty of the fact that you're saying, look, this is an issue, right? This is something that I can solve my own problems if I have this talent. And I have a friend who's an engineer, remodeled his own home, so his name is Janal. Just shout out to you because that's his story. But was able to remodel his own home, but also, doesn't work on site. He works as an engineer. So that is a beautiful point, that studying a trade doesn't mean that has to be your only career pathway, but it does add to whatever your larger vision is. So Kimberly, you were tasked similarly with designing this summer experience and scheduling it and figuring out how to make all the components work so that young people received the NYCP experience, but also had fun, but also earned their Microsoft Cert credential, but also got some career explorations. There was a lot. And we had how many weeks? A 4-week? Five week program, right? So tell us about your experience designing this summer and what were your goals?
All right. So the experience, again, my word for the summer was quick. Okay. Everything came very quick. But it went by very smoothly. So for summer programming for me, I think it's really important, especially for that first year, is really just bringing the students together, helping them to learn and discover things about themselves and then their peers around them. especially since it's a multi-year program,
Yeah.
to just help them understand what it means to become a cohesive group and how that becomes your first network. You know, so we did a lot of personal exploration. I think that it's also important for students to understand their career and their pathway after high school really starts with their personal passion.
Yeah.
And so really driving home the importance of figuring out who you are, what you like to do, and also what you don't like to do, so that you know that you're, we were starting that first step of the NYCP, understanding what your real college and or career goals are, and then also doing some group work and some projects to help them understand how to do research to figure out the pathways for that. So we got a lot of work done in 5 weeks. So really proud of the students. So Brandon, if you would share some highlights of your experience.
Okay, some highlights of my experience at the PIM program were definitely when you guys brung different people from different fields in. Miss Berryman said I was really locked in when y'all came in, and I was, because in my life, it's not that many people I could like look to guide me on my path to college. And listening to all of you guys' stories and how you guys got so successful, I want to be where you guys are at. So I listen to your stories, I listen to how you handle things, and I try to take after what you guys did.
Yeah.
So definitely when you guys have people come in, speak about their experience and how they got there.
Yeah. And I think for us, it's really important for anybody who works with our young people. And this has been my 20-year career. Just anybody, they have to have this deep belief in the young people that are in front of them. There's no room for any preconceived notions, no room for any stereotypes, any biases, no room for anything. And so that's our promise to you all, is that anybody that we bring in front of you looks at you and sees promise, future, riches, wealth. That's all that they see, because that is how you get the highest quality of experience with them. And so I'm glad, because we're very intentional about who we bring. And for that particular panel, we want to thank Josh Nelly and Mel. And I think it's appropriate for us to say thank you, Ryan, Josh Nelly, Mel, Maritza, Tashana, Amber. Who else was a part of that team? Zaya, thank you so much. Thank you to Adamide, I think was a part of that. But just thank you to everyone who was with Kimberly and Jennifer, a part of this PIM summer. Miss Green, who was the Microsoft Cert teacher, Weekend Spot for catering, and just everyone who made it happen.
All right, Jennifer, would you like to share some of your highlights?
Absolutely. First, I want to start off by saying your team was phenomenal.
Thank
you. Really, during the summer program, I was kind of more, I felt like a outsider looking in, because I would come in and have the morning meetings and hand them right over confidently to Kimberly and her entire team. So I would be in and out and seeing what they did. So the highlights for me were just seeing students from 3 schools, from very schools that have distinct cultures, come together. And I would tell Kimberly all the time, like, you would think they all came from the same high school. Like, they didn't come from different schools. And seeing them collaborate with each other, laugh, celebrate, like, the wins when they were doing their different activities. That was kind of the biggest highlight for me, was just see them building their own cohesive community of just mutual respect and just like their aha moments.
Yeah.
So coming in and seeing them be like, oh, like I got that, like that hit deep, or that really meant something to me. I love that. So the last thing I walked into is when they were doing the activity, I think it was with 21st Century Leaders, the rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
And at the end, they all came together and he said, oh, sometimes we're so focused on the progress and not the process. And one of the kids, I think it was Eddie, he was like, I felt that. And I was like, I'm going to steal that. Like, that's really good. And I posted that. And I'm going, who would have thought you can learn something so impactful playing rock, paper, scissors?
That's right.
So seeing those aha moments and them connecting so well with your team, I've been with young people for 18 years.
Yeah.
I've never seen them connect so quickly with a room full of adults the way that they did and build those relationships that I think when it was time to leave, like they didn't want to.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't want to let go of the experience that they were in. So that for me was the highlight, is seeing them grow just as individuals in just small little ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is the NYCP brand, but that's also our brand. You know, like we really are intentional, as we were telling Brandon, about who is in front of them. And so you had a conversation with them about brand, right?
Yes,
so
I did.
How did that go?
I think that went really well. And that came about because I felt there was a disconnect on what the PIM program, what our purpose was. And Kimberly and I spoke every day about these things. And I said, I got something for them.
Okay.
We need to build the PIM brand and connect it to their personal brand, because that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're here to provide the opportunities, the experiences you need to build the brand that you're trying to build, but you're also representing our brand.
That's right.
So we did a whole little mini workshop where we talked about big brands, like Nike and iPhone, and like what do those brands represent to them? And then I posed to them, what is their brand?
Yeah.
When they walk into a room, what do they want people to see? And they're so honest, young people. They really were like, I don't know.
Right. And that's okay.
And that is okay. And I think that's what PIM is here for, is to help them develop that personal brand. And I wanted them to see that that's what the purpose of the program was, is we're helping you find your way and build your brand and show you how to get there.
Yeah, brilliant. And brilliant for them to understand that. Like, our goal is that we're telling employers, we need you to hire a PIMmer, and we need you to hire an NYCP or an Essex County Schools of Technology, or that they understand that there is a brand connected to that title. So that is, just a great, great point. So now we're going into the school year. Brandon's going into 10th grade.
Yes.
That's it? Like, you are so ahead of the game than what I was at when I was going into the 10th grade, let me say. So you're good to go. But we're going into the new year. Kimberly, what do you have in store? What do you expect for the first full year of implementation of PIM as a school year program?
I'm excited to see the workshops in the school setting. I think that's going to be interesting because we had all the kids together. So seeing them, I think the reshaping of the classes is going to be fun. Exposing them to the real NYCP. So they got a little dose this summer. They got some Dan and some Drew. So I think seeing the transition into the real workshops, I think that they are going to be very, very present and focused. So I just can't wait to see, what they.
Yeah, and they have built such a little family, so that's good to feel. Usually when we start a school year, the young people, it's our first, relationship with them, and it takes time to build connection, but they're coming in with this great connection. So Jennifer, what are you most looking forward to? What are the wins that you have in store for young people for the school year?
So I think for the school year is them continuing that journey with NYCP and seeing what that looks like, because they'll be in their individual schools, their respective CTEs. We have a Rutgers course coming for them. So I'm really excited about that. It's been a little bit of a journey to get there with scheduling. But to see them with an actual professor and not one of our own teachers teaching the course, and that whole experience, I think, is invaluable for them. To see what it's like to have a real college experience. I'm excited about that. And listening to the kids and their feedback. We cannot build and implement a successful program if we don't give them a seat at the table.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that they were very clear about throughout the program was more opportunities to explore career paths and dig into their CTEs. They want to network. They want to meet people. They want to understand work cultures. So I think partnering with you and just making sure that they can have those opportunities that they asked for, that would be a big win if we can actually give them what they need.
Yeah. Well, they'll be excited to know that thanks to the Road to 50 campaign, we have 125 career partners who employed young people this summer. They'll meet a lot of them at the All Schools Conference, and they are ready to host our young people, employ our young people, pour into our young people. So 125 career pathway partners, we need you to get to work because the kids want to meet you. And so Brandon, what are you most looking forward to this school year?
I'm looking forward towards a lot. Probably the networking. Definitely meeting all of those people. Help me find myself and find what I want to do. I meant to get Mr. Tyreek's LinkedIn, but I missed out on that opportunity.
No, you haven't. I'll give it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
After this.
Yes.
But definitely getting networking, because I believe the people you surround yourself around are the people is the person you become. Okay. So I want to surround myself around successful people, so therefore I can be successful. And also, being around you guys, seeing how y'all got to where you guys have gotten is helping me to find myself and what I want to do post high school.
Yeah. Well, guess what, Brandon? We are locked in. Ain't no switching up. We got 3 years plus together. And so I'm excited for when you are a guest talking about the people that you have employed through your businesses for us. All right. So that's a promise. We good?
Yep.
All right. So I'll give you Tyreek's information.
Can I also say, so when Kalina asked for us to pick a student, right? So I was so happy when the other day Kalina said, can you send the information about the guest, the student? So I sent her a screenshot of your LinkedIn profile, and I said, he took this assignment seriously.
Yes, he did. It's excellent.
Was an excellent profile.
The profile is excellent. We might have you teach the class on LinkedIn profile creation next summer. So, I think you could do it.
It's all Miss Ramos, personal branding. Yup. I took that lesson really serious.
Yeah,
Yep.
we see it, and it is shining through. Thank you, Brandon, for being with us. Thank you, Miss Ramos, for being with us. Here's to a great school year with the PIMers and the PIM Project. So, just again, thank you to everyone that was a part of our team that made this a great summer. We appreciate you. And not just for being there and working with our young people, but sharing the vision and the heart for the work. So thank you, Hadia, for the work that you led with our Student Advisory Board as well. Everyone who helped out, and for all the young people who thought it not robbery to spend their summer with us. And the best part was at our celebration yesterday, where young people were saying, we want to come back, and employers were saying, we want you back. And so, they showed up differently too, more powerful and more confident. And so it has been great. Hadia, do you have any final thoughts?
No, not much. I just wanted to say that I'm very excited for our next summer. Our first summer was definitely eye-opening, a great experience for our young people, just focused on building new opportunities and better connections. And I overall think, Kimberly Youth of PIM program, our Donald Payne Tech, for hosting us, Newark Alliance. It was an amazing summer. So I'm just looking forward to more to come.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in a space of appreciation. Appreciation for you and your leadership. Appreciation for Kimberly and Hadia, just being on a team with y'all. I think that what is really different, not that other people don't have this too, but what is really different is that we really care and genuinely love these young people and engaging them, even when I was giving them tough love this summer, that they received it. And thankful for the partners, and I'm so excited to see what is to come. So I'm just in an appreciative space.
For sure.
Yes, I want to give a nice shout out to all the CPFs. And also some of my former staff who came and supported this summer too. So shout out to them. They really brought the program together. Like Ms. Ramos said, I think the students really took to our staff. I think that's really important. So shout out to everybody just for being the mentors that we know these students need.
Definitely.
All right. So thank you again for everyone who is listening in to our podcast. Make sure you like, follow, share. Tune in for the next episode.
All right. See ya.